This video today is actually based on popular demand. I've gotten lots of questions on this topic asking me between cabbage and pepper, which is more profitable. So in this video today, I'm going to be answering the question. Hello everyone, as you all know, it's your favorite farm with IJ, and you all know what we do here. We always come here to give you tips on how to be a very successful farmer. So everybody have asked me this question in my DMs, in the comment section. Pay apt attention to this video because you're going to be able to know what my answer is, coming from someone that has done the two. I've done cabbage, I've grown cabbage, I've grown pepper. I'm still growing pepper, I'm still growing cabbage. So I'm going to be very honest as much as I can be and very transparent in this. Okay, today we're going to be starting with cabbage. We all know what cabbage is. I don't need to go that deep or make the video very boring. So I'm going to start with a breakdown or an idea of how much it might really cost you to set up a cabbage farm in one plot of land, or to cultivate cabbage in one plot of land. You know, the capitals and every other thing remains constant, both in pepper and cabbage. The constant thing I mean is the labor, the land, the just the basic thing you're supposed to do, and your land is prepared. Let's take for example, you've done all that, and if you also want to know in details what to do or how to acquire a land, if you don't have one, you can actually check my previous video on where I talked about how much to make from a plot of land if you cultivate pepper. So moving forward, when it comes to cabbage, the seeds of cabbage is way more cheaper than that of pepper. A 1,000 seeds of cabbage is actually sold for around 10 to 15,000 naira, while pepper is sold for 25 to up to 130 or 40,000 naira. So you just pick the variety you want to work on, and that's it. So the cabbage, once you've gotten your seeds, and also in that my previous video, the prices of fertilizer remains the same between the ranges of 50 to 60,000 naira for a 50 kg bag of NPK remains constant. Irrigation, if you're going to use irrigation, cost of irrigation for cabbage and cost of irrigation for pepper is the same. But if it's in a case where it's dry season, just know that the cabbage is going to consume more water, because cabbage needs more water than pepper. So when it comes to irrigation and you are maybe using a generator to power your farm, know that the cabbage is going to take more water than the pepper. I also made mention of the pesticides to use and all that, because when it comes to pest, like, we have a good number of pests that disturbs the cabbage, but they are mostly burrowing pests, like the worms. Those are what disturbs cabbage, and grasshoppers too. So for the fertilizer, settled for the pesticides, you should budget around 20 to 30,000 or 40,000 thereabout is fine. And if you're going to be cultivating your cabbage during the rainy season, you should be very heavy on fungicide, because cabbage is mostly done on the bare ground, and if it's having contact with the soil, that is where they have fungal issues. That is why even in peppers, we usually prune the down part of the pepper so they don't come in contact with the soil. So basically, cabbage is done on the soil and they must have contact with the soil. So always keep in check with your fungal, or use your fungicide when you are cultivating cabbage. So let's talk about the fertilizer, or let's compare fertilizers between cabbage and pepper. When you are growing cabbage, the fertilizers when you're growing cabbage normally, because cabbage is sold by the size of the head of your crop, so you need to give them more food or feed them very well. From the very first day of transplanting, you need to be on your toes in your feeding, because you want them to develop big heads at the end so that you're going to sell well. If they don't have big heads, they're not going to price you, or you might sell lesser than the market price, which it's not what we all want. But coming to pepper, you can feed pepper moderately, and you know it will still give you at least good yield. But I'm not encouraging poor nutrition, but comparing this to this, you can do moderate feeding here, and you're going to still get a decent result. So comparing cabbage and pepper in their feeding, I think cabbage will have to eat more food, but remember that pepper is going to be, you're going to feed it, or you're going to take care of it for a longer period of time than this. Cabbage is just a one-time harvest. After taking care of it for a period of 2 to 3 months and is mature, because it takes about 2 to 3 months to get mature. Once they get mature, it's just a one-time harvest. After harvesting, that's it. But in the case of pepper, it's very progressive. You can harvest 6, 7, 8 months. So this takes more, but in a short while. Why this? Comparing this to this, it might take lesser but progressive, which you're going to give it on a very long run. So let's do the comparison in their pest attack. We all know that cabbage is disturbed by burrowing pest. Why this is disturbed by sucking pest or sucking insect. Burrowing pest, I mean, is the worms, the snails, the slugs. That is what majorly disturbs cabbage. Although they sometimes have issues with aphids that make their leaves, or that make them very folded, but they are quite manageable in cabbage compared to pepper. Even thrips also affect cabbage, but we have so many varieties that are resistant to that, so that is fine, and it's settled in that aspect. So it's easier to manage. I think it's easier to manage pests in cabbage than pepper. When it comes to pepper, you should be very heavy on preventing them from invading your farm than when they are there already. I've said it so many times that these sapping pests, they are very microscopic, that you might not even see them with your bare eyes if you're not experienced. So you need to be on your toes to always make sure you spray cabbage. The maintenance of pests in the two of them, or the both of them, is the same. If you leave this, pest to invade. If you leave this, pest to invade. If you're planting cabbage during the rainy season, be very careful. Be very vigilant when you are spraying, because some of these burrow insects, you might even see their damage when it's very bad, because they might be eating from the roots, or eating from the beneath the produce or crop, till when you come to harvest. When you harvest and open under it, see that everything is empty inside. So be very keen with this. Be very keen with this. This is burrowing, this is sapping. So that's the difference when it comes to pests. After you've taken care of your land, taking care of the pest, taking care of the feeding and the watering, irrigation, if you are doing during the dry season, all those things are, I've made the comparison in both. So let's move to the market price and the market demand. In cabbage, the market demand for cabbage, like the two crops have their different demands. The market demand for cabbage is there if you have your customers. Is there. The market demand for pepper is still there if you have your customers as well. So coming to cabbage, it has demand, but the price of cabbage can fall so much when it is good season in the market, or when it is excess. Like the price of cabbage can fall from 1,000 naira to 100 naira within a snap of the finger. So I feel the market of cabbage is not very predictable. The only time you're going to sell maybe above market price is when it's very scarce and it's nobody is producing. That is when it happens. So I always advise people, make your findings well. Make your findings very, very well. During the festive seasons, cabbage are usually expensive, we all know. And also during the rainy season, cabbage are usually expensive because this period or the rainy season, I said earlier, they have lots of fungal attack. That is why some people don't become successful, or they don't get to their harvesting stage in cabbage. If you are able to grow cabbage during that period, you're going to make good money from it. So moving to pepper, the demand of pepper is really high. I've already made a video of the price of pepper as at then. Even the price of pepper now is still high, although it's not as high as it was then. Yeah, so the market demand for pepper is really high. Let's take for example 100 people goes to the market in a day. If 100 people goes to the market in a day, best believe that 98 of them bought fresh pepper from the market. But if 100 people went to market in a day, maybe about 50% or 60% bought cabbage in a day. So you see the difference in the market price. You can come to the market without buying cabbage and you are fine. But you can't come to the market without buying fresh pepper and you're going to be fine. It's not possible. If you're making your stew, your soups, your whatever, your rice or whatever, pepper is included, is a necessity. So that's the difference between pepper and cabbage, a market demand and the market price. And also the price of pepper, even though the price of farm produce are not stagnant, or yeah, the prices of pepper doesn't fall to rock bottom, like from 100,000 to 5,000 naira. Doesn't fall like that. So that is it when it comes to the market price. The market pricing, this is fine, this is fine. It's according to your initial capital. If you have the initial capital to take care of this, fine, go for it. If you have initial capital to take care of this also, it's still fine, go for it. If you are just a farmer that is starting, if you want to test run cabbage and say, okay, let me see how cabbage goes, you can go with that. If you still want to test run this and you have the capitals to do so, fine, why not? You can go with it. And also there's something I always advise people, or everybody that has been here, because I always come here to give you very important nuggets. I always tell people, before you plant anything or grow any crop or cultivate any crop, the first thing you should ask yourself, does this crop have value, or is it value addition worthy? Or let's say, does it have second-hand value? Comparing these two, okay, because there are some times that maybe it's the price in the market is not favorable for you, or the price in the market is not okay for you, that you want to wait for some time and say, oh, I can't sell this now, it's below my profit, I'm not making any profit from it. So comparing these two, the cabbage and the peppers, cabbage does not really have value addition, especially here in Nigeria. It's mostly sold as fresh produce. But looking to pepper, you can do so many things with pepper. You The most popular one or the most common one is actually drying it. If you go to the market and the prices of pepper in the market like is not so favorable for you, you can decide to dry your pepper and keep it till when it's expensive, then you sell. So you should always look at this or this, which has value addition more. Or if you have customers that is ready to pick up your cabbages or your peppers at, or just sell it off. Remember that you might be feeling like it's going to be expensive this time, or maybe making your prediction. Remember that as you're making your prediction, your next door neighbor is doing same, the next person is doing same, and if you all produce at the same time and come to the market at the same time, the prices is definitely going to fall. So you need to stand out by having an option. If this does not work, this will definitely work for you. So I have said earlier, for cabbages in a plot of land you can get at least 1,500 to 2,000 heads of cabbage, and for pepper you can do 1,000, yeah, at least 1,000 max for a plot of land. So at the end of the day, if cabbage is selling for 700, 500, 500 times 2,000 naira, sorry, 2,000 heads, that should be what you will get. Then, but it's going to be a just one time harvest. But for peppers, whatever the prices is going to be progressive. It's going to go on and on and on. For feeding this, you feed this good, you feed this good, but the feeding of this is just for a short time, and the feeding of this is long term. So you choose your hard. If you want cabbage hard, fine. If you want pepper hard, fine. In irrigation remains constant, but you know that peppers, cabbages need more water because the you also need plenty of waters to make your head size to be really big. So if you're cultivating during the dry season, the cabbages are definitely going to take more water than the pepper. So this is one of my most frequently asked questions, and I hope I have answered. Even if it's one person that I answered, I think I'm satisfied with that. It was a great time having you all here. You all know how we do it. Keep your notification on. Make sure you subscribe. Again and again and again. Share to people that really need this. And you also come back here for more videos like this. I still remain your beautiful and favorite farmer, Farm with IG. To have a lovely day. Bye.